Now, this video is about going from zero, meaning like having nothing, all the way to your first savings of 100K. Probably you've never seen 100K, or maybe you haven't. Maybe you're looking forward to saving or investing 100K and do it at the end of the year. That is 2025. See, making this video at around 26th of December. We are barely 4 days from starting a new year. And I know you have a pen and paper. You're about to write the resolutions. Probably you ain't gonna follow those resolutions just like you did in this 2024. You ain't gonna achieve anything. So the point is, what are some of the strategies? What are some of the routes that you can actually adhere to or follow that can lead you to saving your 100,000? And I know you'll be like, Joseph, what's the big deal with 100,000? Listen, do you know it is easier to move from 100,000 to a million than it is to move from zero to 100,000? I don't know that you know that. Anyway, this is Good Joseph. In case you're watching me for the first time, go ahead and subscribe. Why? Because I upload a new good video and it's all about finances, investments, and savings and what have you. And if you're a returning subscriber, as always, thank you for your eyeballs. Let's stay put. Make sure that you hit that like button at all the time. Leave a comment on the comment section. Please ask me many questions as possible, things that you want me to clarify before we jump in or before we usher in a new year. Let's get on the business. Now, here we are. I have myself a scale and some few writings on the board. I'm going to do the writing and rubbing. So the point is, we are actually on a move to actually save our first 100,000. And I'm saying this because I have been having two WhatsApp groups. Last year, 2023, I had a WhatsApp group. Our target was 100,000. Most of the people achieved that target in that WhatsApp group that I had. This year, if you're watching me and you are in my WhatsApp group, you can let me know. By the way, that WhatsApp group, it's few days before it ends. We're gonna start a new one 2025, God willing. Are we together? And of course, when that time comes, I'll share with you how to join that WhatsApp group and what are the requirements. Now, here we are. So I have done these things for like 2 years experience. Therefore, I can attest to what I'm going to share with you. It is actually workable. Now, see, we want to move from zero to 100,000. So what do we do? And in theory, for example, if we decide to go for a journey today, there must be a strategy. There must be a planning that we need to do. Because we are embarking on a journey, let's have a strategy. And that's why I say the first phase is actually the phase of strategy and evaluation. What are you strategizing? You're strategizing the method that you're going to use. This is when you answer the question of who you are, what do you do for living or for work, and how much do you get in from that particular work. And I want us to be, this is not a motivational video, this is a real practical video. Ask yourself, you're watching this particular video, how much do you bring in your home? That is in terms of a salary, or maybe you have a small business that you're running somewhere. How much comes into your pocket? Thank you. Can you try the best as you can to save aside 20% out of what that you usually bring at home? What do I mean? If you make 10,000 in a month, are you able to make 2,000, just set 2,000 aside? Are you able to do that? Okay, thank you. You're not able to do that. Okay, can you manage then half of that, 10% of that? Okay, then how much is that 10% that you save? See, we strategize based on what we can manage to raise. There's somebody who will raise this 100K in a week, in a day, in hours. You see, that's what I'm saying. Strategizing, this is when you answer the critical questions according to you. What do you usually earn in a month? What do you usually earn in a week? How much do you make in a day? Are we together? So when you answer that, then be real to yourself. Do not oversave. There's something called oversaving. So the question is, how much do you survive on to cater for your recurrent expenditures, the food, the shelter, the clothing, the basic needs? Then how much can you be able to set aside for the purposes of achieving this? Okay, you can manage to set aside 10,000. Okay, you can manage to set aside 9,000, 6,000, 20,000. Are we together? And of course, the more you save, the more, or the shorter the period of time. The evaluation is an issue of what are some of the shortcomings that usually deter you from achieving the goal. For example, when I started that goal, that particular group, I think we were over 1,000 of us. We are around 1,300 people. And right now, as we speak, I only have like 800 people whom I can say, hey, we are still together. Like the rest 500, they just disappeared in the thin air. I don't know where they are. So now the point is, some of the people did not achieve that particular goal. Why? Is it because of external factors or internal factors? What really affects you? Is it because of impulse buying? Are we together? Yeah, I know we have not yet moved from the practical ways of how coming up with this amount of money, but I'm laying down the most important things that you're supposed to do. Now, you ask yourself, what is the biggest problem that usually affects you when it comes to saving your money, when it comes to investing your money? What is that big problem? Oh, okay, I am not a good manager. What exactly do you misuse? When I get my salary, I usually consume a lot. Okay, so you have a problem of impulse buying. Okay, what are the strategies that you aiming to actually apply so that you save that amount of money? You get what I'm saying? So that is strategy and evolution. Now, we go to something called the goal mapping. A goal is 100,000. Now, we want to map that particular goal. By the way, I always tell people, it is always good to count the cost of any particular engagement that you're getting yourself into. For example, if you decide to build a home right now, 3-bedroom, all ensuite, maybe probably will cost you like 4 million or something. Now the question should be, or 4.5, depends on where you're building it. Anyway, that's in Kenyan shillings. So the point is, in terms of dollars, that's like 40,000. So the point is, you should always do the calculation. You don't start a project that you know you can't finish. Are we together? So there's something called the goal mapping. Let's take this 100,000, dissect it into different phases and see how much we quantify. We quantify the engagement that we need. So when we quantify that engagement, then we can be able to see whether we can manage it. Now, see, if we go by the savings per month, that would cost us around 8,333 shillings for us to make, or 8,333 for us to actually achieve that particular goal. Assuming if we can commit 8,333 per month for the next 12 months, we will have ourselves 100,000. Okay? Another way, it simply means it's 20,000 or it's 2,083 per week. Or in other words, it means that you have to set aside 298 per day for you to realize this amount of money at the end of the 365 days, which is basically 1 year. See, when you actually understand these three figures, in monthly, in daily, and in weekly, you can be able to strategize and work with the one that works for you. For example, if you're employed, let's say per day you are paid 700 or 600 or 1,000, okay? If you're paid 1,000, you already know at the back of your head, hey, you know what? If I can set aside only 300 shillings and put it aside, I know at the end of the year, I'm going to having myself 100,000. Probably your target is to start a small business. Probably your target is to buy some. You get what I'm saying? So you'll be able to know that. So you've already quantified how much you need. And guess what? I know it is easier said than done when you're beginning. Very true. Because you need three things to achieve that particular goal: consistency, discipline, and sacrifice for you to be able to raise that amount of money. So when you actually dissect these numbers in this way, you can be able to see how much is needed of you to actually embark on that. Before we go to the phase number 2, and before I explain something about this scale that I'm having here, let me ask you a question. See, this money, remember, we are not saving, we are investing. Saving cannot snatch you from creating. Of savings, it's not a vehicle that you take to, or rather that you board to take you to the destination called wealth or riches or something of sort. The vehicles that you're supposed to use are the vehicles of investment. And the vehicle of investments, I always tell people, let it be a reflective of whatever is actually what am I even making sense? Whatever you are getting as a return should be at least closer to what the government treasury bills giving you, or slightly above what the government treasury bills is offering. So for example, in Kenya right now, the treasury bills in Kenya is giving you around 11-ish%. Let's work with 11%. So if you can get a vehicle of an investment that is giving you, say, 10% or say 12% or even that 11%, that is a good vehicle to take. Now it's you here to pick the vehicle that you're gonna board that actually gives you that. But again, remember, they have several varieties of vehicle. There are vehicles that are a bit risky. Probably they're gonna speed, quote unquote. That's just analogy to mean that there are vehicles that are a bit riskier. For example, if you go the shares way, you can actually make a lot, but at the same time, it's a little bit of a risky affair. But if you go with vehicles that are quite stable, like, okay, fine, with this nature of investment, you may not be able to qualify for treasury bills. Even treasury bonds may not be really the best vehicle that you can actually pick. But if you pick a vehicle like fixed investment fund, that is FIF, then it can help you to propagate yourself towards achieving that. Or maybe if you pick a vehicle, something like a bond fund, or pick a vehicle like a balance fund or equity fund, or maybe the so-called, or the infamous one called the MMF, can actually take you there. So you pick a vehicle where you'll be actually channeling that money that can actually help you to propagate yourself towards that. Are we together? But remember, the investment that we are doing, it is not the one that will earn us the 100,000. It is our savings. The interest that you're going to get at the end of the year, it is not that ain't going to solve like a huge chunk of your problem in terms of achieving that amount of money. Now, that is phase one. What have we done? We've strategized, we've evaluated, we've seen how much we need to save in a month, daily and weekly. And again, we've actually used something called the vehicle that can take us to that particular destination. So when you're finished with phase one, and the phase one usually takes like a month from January to February, that is when you're strategizing and you're doing evaluations and what have you, so that at least you can see whatever you've come across or whatever you've actually formulated will actually work. Now you graduate to the next phase. But before we say anything about the next phase, there is a scale here, okay? Now, this is where we are. And this is, I would like you to literally go buy yourself a book that is quite blank and draw this kind of a scale. You write that 0K all the way to 100K, okay? And this is what I'm going to tell you. When I said zero, I assume that you have nothing in your savings. But if say you have something in your savings, probably you're watching this video and you already have 20,000 and you're looking forward into reaching to 100,000. You've already starting the journey at least some few steps here. You're not starting at the beginning. And what happens is that the more money you have, or the closer you are to 100K, of course, the easier it will be to reach that particular money. Have you ever heard of people saying that you need money to make money? Therefore, for example, if today you're starting with 0 and someone else is starting at 50, the one with that 50 can actually leverage on having the 50 and be able to reach this destination in easier way or at easier way compared to you having a 0-1. Are we together? So the reason why I'm telling you to draw this scale is that when you save your first K, 10K, or when you save your first 9K, or when you save your first 8333, you can actually be able to tick that. Let's say you'd be having only 12,833. So those are your 12 problems of 833. So if you manage to hit that first problem of 8333, then you tick it out there. See, that ticking and making sure that I fulfill the goal number one, the goal number two, gives you the motivation, gives you the zeal, and also giving you the urge to actually pursue further and be able to reach that particular target. Are we together? Then you push that way all the way to the end of the scale. Okay, now we go to the phase two. The phase two is actually scaling up there at the laid strategy. What do you do now? You simply work on the strategy that, for example, I usually have people asking me, hey Joseph, I've managed to raise 500,000 and I'm looking forward into hitting, say, 1,000,000. And I'm asking them, so they're asking me, so what exactly can I do to raise that particular money? And then ask them, how long did it take you to raise that amount of money? Oh, wow. It took me last year to raise that amount of money, or say several months ago. Then, like, guess what? Whatever you did to raise this 500, it's actually working. It's actually been tested. So how about you simply scale up? If it's scalable, you scale up that what you did to get 500,000 so that you can raise that amount of money and move, rather than just switching off from what you did or know or understand to a whole of a new thing that you need time to learn and all those kind of things. You simply work on this. See, for example, if you say for the first month, that is from Jan to Feb, or from Feb to March, you've actually saved, let's say, for 2 months, and you're like, wow, this is actually working. So the only thing that you need, you don't really need to invent a whole of a new thing. You simply need to scale up that strategy that you actually applied for the first 1 or 2 months, and you can actually move ahead with it. Are we together? That is exactly what we say, having a strategy that actually works towards your favor. And again, when we go to the phase 3, this is now when you optimize. It's now to take care. To actually optimize is to sort of how can I say it? It is to get maximum out of the what you have. For example, let's say you've saved for the first month, the second, the third, the fourth. You actually here with around 40K. It's always good to spread your tentacles out there and ask yourself, okay, fine, my strategy is actually working. I'm able to save 8,333 in a month, or I'm able to save 298 per day anyway. But so far as we speak, I have 40K. What can this 40K actually do for me as of now? Instead of it, maybe, yeah, I know it's an investment. How much am I getting this? Okay, fine. If I get a far much better investment, and again, it does not violate the principle of capital preservation, then you can actually go ahead and optimize that what you have, because you're no longer functioning as an individual who had 0 when you're starting. So you can be like, you know what, this 40,000, okay, you can just go somewhere and buy some goats and resell them. Even if I will make 300 per goat and I have 10 of them, I have 3,000. Well, I know it's not huge, but at least I've hastened the period, so you can be able to do that rather than just clinging to one thing. I always tell people, there's a video I made and I said, hey, sometimes you need to cheat the process here. When I say cheat, please please take it kindly and take it in a right way. I don't mean like doing bad things. That simply means like where you actually sort of maximize, you know, maximize the returns within the same period of time. You have to be out there. An opportunity comes in and something is being sold and you see, hey, you know what, I can actually buy things then and actually resell it and be able to make some cash and leverage on that and be able to propagate myself towards achieving that particular goal. It's all about you having what we call optimization. And the optimization, I would actually advocate, let's start from there, June to September, as you move towards at the end of the particular goal. That way, when you have all this in combination, you can actually achieve that particular goal. And this is exactly what my guys in my group did or are doing for the few days that are remaining. Again, depends on when you're watching this video. Just like I said, I'm making this video at around December, a few days from us ushering a new year, which is 2025. Anyway, I'm looking forward into, you know what, guys, having us in the new good year, and we can be able to strategize a lot. That is through God willing. That's not by will, it's the God who grants us that opportunity. So anyway, that is it, guys. If you would like to, before the year ends, you would like to us to have a conversation and strategize some few things here and there, go ahead and hit that number or pick that number from the description of this particular video. Shoot me a text on my email or my WhatsApp. That's my WhatsApp number actually. Then we can have a discussion about that. For now, it's a goodbye. See you in the next one.